Hey, beautiful soul. Before we jump into the episode, I want to know, did you know that I have a completely free virtual new moon circle called Co-Create every single month? This stemmed out of a constant request for a space or a church that taught so many different spiritual modalities, tools, systems, beliefs, and I didn't have any place to send them. So I created it. In Co-Create, this is the space that I want to bring to you to learn how to create a connection to yourself, your energetics, and the divine in a community that won't make you feel like a weirdo. A space where you can ask any question you want, where we get to dive into so many systems and beliefs and tools, and you get to pick and choose what feels good for you. So you can learn what it means to truly co-create with the universe, God, source, for flow, trust, and surrender, to connect with other women who are spiritually curious in a space that's safe, sacred, and inspirational. It's your space for you to find your people and lean into new spiritual practices to truly co create with the universe or God or source or whoever you feel connected to. You'll gain tools and knowledge to understand what it really means to lean into the universal laws and become magnetic, all while being held by massive feminine energy. I've been hosting these free new moon circles for almost a year now, and it's definitely one of my most sacred spaces, and it's completely free for you every single month. Diana said that she made a promise to herself that she would work on her personal development and growth journey earlier in 2024. So I reached out to her and asked her for a testimonial to share with us. And what she said was Adriana's membership community and Co-Create has accelerated that and more. I have had multiple breakthroughs from finding a new career path, improving my mental health by reducing my anxiety and depression through journaling, meditation, and breath work, improving my physical health, doing walking meditations are my jam, strengthening my marriage and relationships, improving my money mindset, and just setting up a routine that complements my design. I've learned to embrace challenges as a sign of growth. I will continuously do my best to be in harmony with myself, with this world, and the universe. I have never felt so seen, heard, safe, and supported. Her community and Co-Create has helped me connect to my true authentic self, to move with grace and intention, to embrace everyone's uniqueness. And we each have a special gift and are collectively part of this world to show and share it this way. Thank you so much, Diana, for sharing all of your reflections and how Co-Create and my community has changed your life. And now I want to share it with everyone else. The link to register is in the show notes below. Even if you register for 1 month, you will automatically be signed up to be able to join every single month for as long as you're on the list. So you don't have to repeat it every month. You will always get on the list. You will always have the Zoom link available. I love you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Now enjoy the episode. Welcome to the No BS Human Design Podcast. I'm Adriana Keefe, human design coach and motivational speaker. I went through my quarter life crisis in my 20s and had to learn how to navigate through finding what I was meant to be doing with my life. I refused to believe in the culture that said we were all meant to have the same path and boring careers until we retire and die. And along my journey, I found human design, a system that reveals your energetic blueprint, showing you where and how to access your body's consciousness and how to live as your true self. Human design changed my life, so I started sharing it with others and changing their lives, but we were all finding the same problem: a lack of resources that explain the system in easy and useful ways. So I created this show where we dive deep into the lessons of the human design system without the BS and the noise you find on the internet. Listen in for lessons in human design, finding your purpose, manifestation and spiritual practices, human design within business, and so much more. We connect with other experts in the human design and spiritual realm in a refreshingly honest way to help you find your way along your spiritual path and live this life with intention. It's time to let go of the societal expectations of being and let yourself find abundance through being uniquely you. Let's get started. Okay, as we just started recording, I don't know how, but I just noticed the beautiful baby pictures behind you. I was like, oh, there's a little newborn baby smiling at me. That's so sweet. Ainsley, thank you so much for being here. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
And I get to see you in a couple days, which is going to be
I
so much
know.
fun at the place that I originally met you to, which is so sweet. I'd love for you to take a second to introduce yourself. Let us know who Ainsley is.
All right. Well, as you can see, I'm a mom. We have a very sweet 4-year-old. This was actually the last time we've had family pictures done. That's why these are still up.
Same, when Dean was a baby the last time we
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah. So I have a 4-year-old son. My husband is active duty in the Navy. We live in Norfolk, Virginia. Uh, that is my home life. And my professional life, I am a chiropractor. I have my own practice here in Norfolk where I treat mostly military and their spouses, their families. That's kind of my jam, my bread and butter. That's what I love. Do acupuncture, chiropractic, nutrition, all of that. Because that's not enough for me, apparently. I also teach as well as a college here in the area, and I just really love being able to spread more of that knowledge onto the next generation of learners, mainly anatomy and physiology, and a little bit of nutrition. So that is the nutshell of what I do, who I am most of the time.
A wealth of knowledge. And what is your human design? And if you know your astrology, maybe your top three, if not just your sun sign.
Okay, I am a 2-5 generator, and I loved learning that. I will tell you, just understanding that just made my whole life change. I am also an Aries. My birthday was actually just a few days ago. So
Oh, yeah. April 18th. Happy birthday.
thank you. So that is between the two of those, feel very, very seen when I look at both
Yeah.
of those.
Mm-hmm. And you just kind of touched on it, but you felt like the first time that we met, you already felt very connected to your body. And I'm guessing that has to do with your work because your work is so body based. You literally live what you teach, essentially. And so when you first reached out to me, you had said you heard a podcast episode about Revive Your Sacral and you just knew it in your gut. And at that point, you barely knew anything about your human design, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But you just had this body response. So if you remember, if you can remember that far back, what did it feel like for you when you were listening to that and knew you had to reach out to me?
So we had met about a year ago, and you had talked about human design, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but looked into it as you were speaking, and then got further connected to you because you were saying, hey, is anyone a chiropractor? And I was like, yeah, I am. And you need an adjustment. And yes, I am very connected to my body. And the minute I put my hands on someone to adjust them, I am forever connected. Like whether they ever come back and see me again, whether I ever speak to them again, I just feel that
Hmm.
connection. That soul to soul connection has already been made. So it had already been made with you. It was there. And so June last year, I was listening to one of your podcasts. I think it's the first one I listened to. It was on this, and you were like, yeah, we're doing this again, and it's coming up. And I was like, that's it. Like I can tell you where I was in the neighborhood on my walk that day. The weather, it was beautiful. It was sunny. I can tell you what I was wearing. It was like that ingrained, like that kind of moment of this is it.
Hmm.
And I don't know when it's starting. I don't know how much it's going to be. I don't know what the commitment is, but that's what I'm going to do.
Hmm.
And there was no questions about it after that. That was just, this is it. And that's done.
Yeah, you signed up like 2 or 3 months before it even launched.
I
Something
did.
like
I think I went home. I literally like walked home. Like I didn't even finish my walk. I was like, I'm just going to go home and message her right now. Like I'm not waiting.
that's the kind of sacral response. It's like this full
Mm-hmm.
body, like I have to go do this thing right now. That makes so much sense. So what was it that called to you for that program? Why did you feel like you needed something like that?
So I am a sacral authority, but at that time in June, I was hitting a burnout. I was hitting a
Mm.
hard burnout in my practice and in my life, and I was not finding harmony and balance in anything. And I knew I needed to reset, and I knew I couldn't reset alone. And it was, I've had my therapist and I've gone through therapy and I have my friend and I've looked at other things, but it was this is really interesting to me. This is making me feel seen. And I know I need to do something with my sacral. I knew that it was off. I knew it was wrong. So let's try, I think that was really what drew me in.
Mm. Yeah, because you already had an understanding of the chakra system, right? So
Mhm.
you understood sacral had to do with like your burnout or why you were feeling the way you were feeling. So that makes sense that it was like such an easier yes for you because you already understood it was like from that energy center. Does that feel right?
Mhm. Yes.
Yep. Okay. That makes sense. Okay. And so you didn't actually, I don't think you even really cared about the human design aspect at that point. You were just like, I know this is going to help. Yeah, exactly. She's shaking her head no for anyone who's not watching it, only listening. She's like, no, yep. So what was it? Can you remember, since you remember that moment so vividly, what it was from that episode that you just felt like this is the thing that will pull me out of this burnout?
I don't even remember. All I remember was hearing sacral and a program. And I also had bad FOMO. Like I have real bad FOMO on things.
Yeah, I do too.
Um, and I was like, I need to do this. Like it just I don't even remember who you were interviewing or what you guys were like anything else that you were talking about was I heard sacral and there was a program and it helped someone else and I was in.
I love that clarity. But I guess that really comes from the like you've done so many years of body work, not on other people, but also like on yourself. So that makes so much
Mhm.
sense that it was such a clear yes for you. So where were you at? Like, yes, you were burnt out. And the Revive Your Sacral program is not just for entrepreneurs. It was kind of, it's always been kind of 50-50, but it's for anyone really. And I have a soft spot, I guess, for the business owners because I know what it's like. They teach you that like when you start a business, it's like you more time freedom, but really it takes time to get to that time freedom. And it takes a lot of well, I would say stress at first if you don't know what you're doing. So can you explain like this season of burnout that you were in as a business owner and as a mom and a woman? Like, what did that feel like that you were finally ready to just go get some help or join a program?
So last January I moved into new space for my office. I moved my office. It was into my dream space and I went hard. I pretended it was my office had been open for about 6 years, but I was like, we're in a kind of in a new neighborhood in Norfolk. I want to go hard, pretend this is a new practice. We were doing all these events and all this stuff was growing and the practice was growing. But as I looked back, it was all about the practice. There was no harmony with home. There was nothing really about, I couldn't recall anything we had done in those first 5 months of last year with the family. Um, my husband being active duty wasn't home a lot. So I was still very like, I was in charge of everything, my son and the house and all the stuff, but my brain was on the practice and it was too much. It was too much. I was growing so hard, but I knew I was burning out and I felt it coming. And my brain's still being this far out of, being in high school and being in school. I still want to take summers off. Like my brain still goes, it's summertime. You should be relaxing and not doing anything. And so I felt it as I was ending up May and going into June. I felt it coming and I felt my body just kind of slowing down. I wasn't taking care of it. I wasn't exercising or eating well. And I just wasn't putting things where I needed them to be.
Mm,
And I've hit burnout before. This isn't the first time. And I knew the longer I waited, the harder it was going to get. So it was find the help as soon as I could so that I could hopefully maybe have a month of burnout or 2 months of burnout and not 6 months of it before I finally got my butt in gear to pull it back together.
mm. And this is a total like off the cuff question. And I don't know if you'll know the answer to this right off the top of your head, but do you feel like it was more of the learning more about your human design or more of the having the consistent sessions with me, really digging into your energy that was more helpful? And that's not a trick question, but I'm genuinely feeling called to ask that.
I think it was the consistency of it because I can go learn human design if that's what I really had wanted or felt was going to drive me out. There's stuff out there. I can read my own books. I can do my own studying, but it was the consistency of you and what you brought and the rest of the group and what they brought and
Mm,
the energy of being with them. every week and that commitment that I had made.
Yeah. Thank you for adding that with the group. Yes, I love group energy so much. And we had some really knowledgeable, powerful women in that group and someone who literally specifically worked with the body as well. And it was just such a dynamic group of women that could give their input and their feedback based on their expertise. One other one was like also a human design expert. So she doesn't call herself that, but she is legit an expert. So I feel like that group aspect, we don't talk about that enough, really, what everyone else brings to the table, too. What was something that you feel like was your biggest aha moment, if you want to use that term, throughout that program?
It was during one of our meditations. We were going through all the chakras and you were having us like envision them and the color and what they looked like and all of that. And I was able to get to the heart. And I know my heart's been blocked. I do know that my heart chakra is so blocked. And I was actually able to define how blocked it was. What did that look like? Why couldn't I get to it when all of my other ones were so open and I could tell you what color and what texture and what they looked like. Um, and then you had us move through an actual heart, kind of month that we worked through the heart. And I was able to start to see it and start to see it open up. And there's still blockage on it. It's not perfect. There's still a wall there, but I could start to see the color coming out and the shape of it it wants to do more. It wants to be out instead of it being fully blocked like it has been.
Why am I already crying? I think I remembering back to that time when you were like, I saw my heart for the first time. And when we first came into this, I don't think you said it to me, but I could read it on you that I was like, I think it's your heart more than your sacral. And you said, yes, I felt that way for a long time. And so when we did that month and you started to say that you could see your heart, I was like, oh, so that's probably why I'm getting emotional now just thinking about it. Because it's so connected. I mean, every part of us is very connected, but it's very difficult to create when we're not open through the heart. We're not open to receiving anything. Um, oh God, I love that. Okay. So now I'm all emotional, grounding back in. What do you feel like What was the most supportive part of being in a group while you're trying to heal from business burnout, motherhood burnout, all the things? What's something that we did, even as a group or just me or whatever, that feels like it was the most supportive for your healing?
I think being in the group, you learn you're not alone.
Mm,
And because it is, when you are an entrepreneur and you are doing a business, like mine, where it's me, you feel like you're on an island and you are alone and you see all these other, because with social media, we can look as good as we want to look.
yeah.
And so you see all these and you're like, well, they're killing it. Well, they're doing this great thing. Well, they're doing all this. And man, I just suck. Like I'm all alone and there's something wrong with me and I can't do this. And to sit there and listen to everyone else have the same struggles, but then we worked through the struggles together. So
Mhm.
we weren't left in our struggles and we weren't left feeling that way, but we were able to work through it together and have that support. I think that was the biggest benefit of the group is to just feel like there's somebody else out there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I agree. That's why I love being a member of a mastermind myself and in a group myself, just to not feel alone in all the crazy ideas that you have, all these weird, ambitious things that women like us get for our businesses and our lives. So now, as a business owner and a mom and a wife and just a woman in general, how have you been feeling since the program ended?
I feel good. I've been able to tap into some of the stuff we had worked on and like re-pull it back out. Um, Big one tapping. I mean, just in general.
Mm,
We did a lot of tapping and I have never been a big tapper, but I have found and it just might be like on my leg. It may not be going through the full thing, but just sitting there and just you're okay. You're fine. Bring it down. My body starts getting anxious and you can just quietly tap and no one even knows what you're doing. No one knows that you're bringing it down. Um, I think some of the coolest things in my business though, I'm so excited to share this. So I just hired my assistant. And when I was doing the interview process, everyone that got to like the second round, I had them put their info. They came in for like a working interview, so they were on the computer. I had them put all their info into your website and pull their human design chart. And I had that with me. So when I finally picked someone, I used her design chart to figure out her training plan. And I went through it and I dove deep into her design so that the day she started, I was able to start off right the way, same way with her. I knew exactly who she was, how to respond to her, how to praise her, how to work with her. And then that first week we went out to lunch and I like went through her whole design with her. And I was like, this is it. This is what I found. This is why I think you're going to be such a big asset to this practice. This is how I think we're going to work well together. And we just went through the whole thing together. And she was blown away. She had never heard of this. She's 21, so she's, young and still coming into. She's like, why is this my life? You just explained it to me. I was like, I know. And so now she gets it, and we can we refer back to each other's charts sometimes of like now already in the office of like, does that feel good to you? Or, where are you in your, or do you feel like you're listening to your authority? There's stuff like that we pull, and it's going to be so much fun when she fully gets trained and we're just full in it. Our office is going to be so much fun.
And so everything that you've implemented for yourself and everything you've been learning for yourself has just made you a better leader and a better boss.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
I love that.
I think and because it's making me a person with her. It made her a person with me before she started, and it makes me a person with her, not just a boss or someone who's ever in charge. We're people, and we're a team, and we're doing this together.
And it takes things off your plate, which I know you have been, I don't know if wounded is the right word, but kind of wounded in the past by people you've hired and you were afraid to hire again. And we go through a lot of like scarcity with money when we think of hiring and all of that. So what switched for you how did you get through that idea of hiring again and it could be potentially another bad fit or we're going to be letting go of money for someone who doesn't work out? Like how did we navigate that in a way that helped you, I guess, that helped you move through it?
Well, one, you and I worked on money a lot in our private sessions. Got through that hurdle with some things that you had sent me. And then I played with the universe. I was fighting hiring someone. I knew I needed to, but I was fighting it. It's exhausting. And I can do it. I don't want to do it, but I can do all the work and all that, and saves me some money and all that. And then I played with the universe one day and I said, okay, if I'm supposed to hire, you have 24 hours to send me 3 new patients. Like that's it. And if you do, cool, I will move forward with this. And I think in like 8 hours, I had 3 new patients jump on my schedule. They were in the office within 24 hours. And I was like,
I didn't even know that.
I was like, heard it, got it, thank you. I will hire.
That's awesome. Did you play with the universe like that before, or is that just since our work?
Not in that way. I enjoyed listening. So as chiropractors, we believe in our innate intelligence, our inner voice, and I've learned to listen to my inner voice very well. And when she tells me to do something, I jump and I do it and I don't mess around with it. But to play with the universe and listen to the universal outward voice has been a new thing for me. And so that was a clear sign.
I love that. Just to know you're supported universally is really what that tells me. Because when you ask for outside, quote, universal help, it is with the belief and the trust that you are supported in the process, no matter what the answer is. If you don't get your answer, that is your answer also. It's so funny that yours came to you so fast. I don't think you told me that. That's hysterical. Oh, so overall, how do you feel like this work affected how you lead your business, who you are in your business?
I'm more confident in it. There's so many different ways to run a chiropractic office. There's different ways to do every business, right? But there's a lot of management groups out there trying to help us kind of run it their way and the way they found success. And it seems to be every time I follow that to a T, someone else's plan, it doesn't work, and I filter out. And then I suddenly get, this big burst of confidence and do it my way, and then the practice grows. And then I get all this confidence, and then I'm like, oh, I'll just follow somebody else's because that is going to be easier. And then I falter a little bit. So knowing who I am, knowing that my design is there to support these weird, quirky things that I come up with, or the weird ideas and fun ideas. It's okay. That's who it is. That's who it's meant to be. And then I follow that with a lot more confidence, and being to my strategy, all that is to respond. And that's very hard for me sometimes. And so having to sit back and wait is been a blessing. It's been a challenge, but it's been a blessing to sit back and wait and really see if that feels good before I make decisions with the business. You also had me run a design chart for the business. And turns out we're the exact same, basically. I'm a 2-5 generator. It's a 5-1 generator. But we're both sacral authorities. Both of our, we're meant to respond. And, our self is satisfaction, our not self is frustration. So the business is not, it is me. That's I think what also gave me that second kind of boost of confidence was I built a practice that's me. I just need to give into the resistance sometimes that I'm not doing it right, or that should be doing it a different way because it works for somebody else.
Yep, 1000%. Yeah, it's like, how can we use someone else's framework that worked for them if we are completely different than them? It just, it was made for most people with good intentions. However, that's only going to land for a certain amount of the population. That's not going to be who it is or what it is for everyone. And you had mentioned that we worked on a lot of money stuff together. And I think this is like the gold mine. Yes, masterminds are wonderful for all the other groups, but like I also offer individual sessions every single month. And you really took advantage of that. And so we got to work on the shit that was underneath even deeper. Maybe you weren't comfortable doing them in the group. So is there anything that you want to add around the money piece, and like what has changed for you since we started this one in September? With how you relate to money and paying bills and anything with that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to look at my bank account. I don't want to look at money. I don't have a good relationship with it. My husband is CFO of our marriage. He and thank goodness he's so good with it. He likes to look at the credit card bill before he falls asleep. Just, and ask me questions. I'm gonna be up all night now. So I don't enjoy that. And every time I had to pay the credit card bill for the office every month, it was wait till the last minute and then jump online. I know there's money in the account, but I still don't want to see it, and just gives me all the anxiety. And now it's oh yeah, I need to pay it, and I just jump on and do it because the money's there. It's not a problem. I'm gonna pay it. It's not it's a big deal. It's just there's a mental block. And so working on that one-on-one with you and really diving into where I thought the issue was, where I thought the block was. And then now it's and I think that also helped me with hiring too, because now it's is it really that much? Am I really, I'm not paying her, a massive amount every month, it's not taking that huge chunk out.
So you're a lot more grounded and neutralized around it.
Yes. Yes. I've even allowed my husband to talk to me about money in our home.
And speaking of, how has your connection with your husband changed throughout this process? Because I keep saying this when we're talking about the human design mastermind. It was the same with Revive Your Sacral. Yes, it's about you, but it's about every aspect of your life. Everything changes. So your business changed. How you relate to money changed. But how does it change with your husband and as a mom?
Knowing their designs, I have a lot more, I want to say sympathy, empathy. I feel like I'm able to understand them a little better. So my son is a 1-3 manifesting generator. He is an emotional authority, and we see that already at 4. But I've learned, I actually got him a book. There's a cute book on Amazon, and it's I'm a Manifesting Generator. And we've read that to him.
Yeah.
And just using that to make sure we're building his strengths as he grows. Yeah. And when I see it happening, or I see him getting into his non-self of frustration, let's talk it down. Let's learn how to navigate it, not ignore it and not punish it, but navigate that frustration and find our way to satisfaction. So I love being able to do that. My husband is a 2-4 projector. Projectors they're fun. But learning about him being a projector and what being a projector means,
Yeah.
and as soon as I saw it, honestly, actually, when you were talking last year and you were explaining the different types to us, I didn't have to look him up. As soon as you started talking about projectors, I was like, oh, that's my husband. All right, cool. But now I just have a little bit more of calmness when we're talking and when
Yeah.
he's explaining something or we're having a conversation that gets a little heated. We're a little bit calmer. And so this is who you are. This is your authority coming out. This is whatever it is coming out. Let's work through it.
Hmm. Yeah. And you had also said that you don't struggle to express your needs anymore or as much. I don't know if it's entirely, but like, what does that look like for you in your relationship?
It's so much nicer. I
Oh,
don't feel like I'm sitting back and like, okay, I shouldn't say this because I know it's going to upset him, or like I don't want to have a fight today, or or I just which he wants the communication.
hmm.
I've just never been good at communication. And now I've suddenly learned how to communicate really well, just by having more confidence in myself that I can talk through stuff better and I can stop it before it becomes an issue because I've said something. You and I have also talked about that in our private sessions of just feeling heard and seen and feeling like he's not disrespecting me when he maybe makes an offhand comment, but
Yeah.
that's who he is or that's what has been, allowed, and to speak up and say that's really not what we need to talk about right now, or that's
Hmm.
really not helpful in this situation or this conversation, and having the ability to express that to him because I'm not a great communicator. I never have been. I didn't learn, and so that's been a big. That's what I've learned to do in the last few years. That's been
Hmm.
a huge journey for me.
And so it sounds like your worthiness factor overall has increased quite a bit.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Your heart center is all about worthiness, self-worth. Yes, money and willpower, yes, but also self-worth. So it makes sense that you had so much movement on that. Like, I can ask for my needs, I can express how I feel because of that heart center work that we've been doing.
Hmm.
That makes so much sense. So now I need to know going into the summer, what are the summer vibes? Because last year in the summer, you were burnt out. Now
Yes.
you're approaching your business and your life as a mom and a wife completely differently. So what are the vibes for the summer?
I'm actually trying to pull back the reins right now for the
Hmm.
summer. Because I'm getting my Annabelle, my assistant, we're training. She's going to be trained by the end of May, and I think we're going to just take off. That I'm almost like, okay, calm down a little bit. Let's not get too excited. Let's pull back a little bit. let's let's go slow, get her trained, not go as hard as I feel like I want to go this summer. Um, we had also talked because I do feel like I need to change my summer hours to just kind of accommodate that feeling of needing to be off in the summer. I played with the universe of the first time I see a cardinal, I need to look into it. I love cardinals. They tend to be my bird. They tend to find me. And I didn't worry about it until I saw a cardinal a few weeks ago. And then maybe the next day I was like, oh, Wednesday afternoons, gonna take them off. No big deal. And it just came right to me like,
Hmm.
that's going to be my time. My Wednesday afternoons is we're right by the beach. If I want to go to the ocean and do whatever, clean the house, just sit around, that's my summertime.
So do you feel like you have, I wouldn't say completely cleared up because I think this is a work in progress for everyone, but really started clearing up the time spent at the office equals money issue, like where we feel like we have to be tied to our work in order to make money. Do you feel like that's completely different for you now?
It is. And I've had a lot of guilt around it because I've had to take time off from the office to be a mom. Like when my
Hmm.
husband was deployed or he's been away for long periods of time, I have to take time off to then switch right around and be a mom. So I don't really get a break and I don't get time off. Now he's home, he's very helpful. When he's home, he's in it. And our son's getting older, he's a little more independent. So now when I take time off, I get to take time off for me and to do fun, independent things versus, okay, I got to take time off, but now I'm missing patients because I got to go be a mom. And then I have resentment because I got to be a mom and not the doctor and all of that. So it's calming down. There's a lot more of that harmony. There's never going to be balance, but that harmony that I can find in between all the
Hmm.
aspects.
I just gotta say, you're like a fucking rock star doing all this as a owner and with a husband who's deployed. And obviously, my husband travels a lot, but it is different than you. You were alone for like 10 weeks of our program together, something like that.
Yeah, that was one of those universe things that we didn't know he
Hmm.
was leaving, and we found out we had a week that he was going to leave, and this started that same week. And I think that was like it was the reason I think you had to wait till September to do this.
You're right. You're so
So
right. Yep.
the universe was like, she's going to need you.
Hmm.
And coming in and kind of having this to balance me as I was starting that again, those 10 weeks of him being gone, really unexpected, very unprepared for, with no help from family at the time, really was it was a big blessing.
Well, you are a champ. You didn't let on most of the time how hard that was. So just saying. Oh God. What has anything like surprised you the most about our work together? I knew you felt really connected to it and I knew you wanted it and would benefit, but was there anything really surprising, like a delightful surprise bonus that you got out of doing this work together?
I did. It's totally a did not expect it. In one of our one-on-one sessions, we took 5 minutes and you got me over my fear of flying.
Yeah.
Oh, it was just so quick and so fast. And I went from literally not feeling I could get on a plane and having to take so much like CBD oil to and just like had to be in my head and couldn't calm down
Mhm.
to like we just flew this last weekend. We flew all over the country.
You did again and no
We
problem?
did zero. Like I started to feel at one point, I started to feel a little bit, and I just like I sat there and tapped, but like I forgot my CBD. I forgot to even pack it, which was just
Wow.
like and yeah, I was real on
Wow.
the plane. And I was like, this is great. I love being. I used to love to fly. I
Me too.
love to fly. And then I had my son, and I suddenly started having flying panic attacks.
Yep.
Couldn't be on a plane, and all of a sudden I'm good. It was so
Hmm.
great.
That I mean, so when I coach or teach or whatever the fuck you want to call it, when I'm in this energy with my people, yes, we know everyone knows that I do tapping and human design, but I have like this wealth of other energy work systems that I've been learning throughout the years. I've been like collecting these, like I'm a hoarder. Like I know so many things. And the one that I did specifically with you was an RRT method, and it was like 5 minutes. I think it was like 5 minutes. And after that, you're like, oh, I feel like it's gone. And then you went and you got on the plane, and the first ride there, you're like, I think I was fine. And the ride home, you're like, I'm great. And I was like, this is awesome. So that's another huge benefit of working directly with someone is that you get all of the shit that they've collected over the years. Like it's not just human design and tapping that I know how to do. There's so much other stuff. If there's someone who's listening to this who's considering joining the mastermind, still kind of on the fence, not sure if it's right for them or if it's the right time, is there something that you would say to them to help them understand or make a better decision?
The universe is gonna make it's gonna tell you when it's time. I mean, play with the
Mm,
universe as I did. It when you're on the fence, it may just not be the right time, and that's okay. And I think sitting with it and going, is this FOMO? Do I want to do it just because of FOMO? Because I've done plenty of programs where it's all FOMO and then
yep.
I don't do the work
Yep.
because I don't actually want to do it.
Hmm.
But if you're sitting there and you're like, if you're saying yes, I'm all in, but there's a hurdle of maybe money or the time or like those are figure out those are tangible figure out things. Those are not if your gut's saying do it, you got to do it.
Mm, preach.
Yeah.
I have this one other question that ChatGPT gave me for my other student that I interviewed, and it's it's legit. It's a great question. It might throw you off a little bit, and I love it. What's your favorite way to describe what it's like to work with me? It's a good one, right? I'm like, I
I
want to
love
hear
that.
this.
I love that. It's comfortable. It
Oh.
is. I think any group work or working with a coach should be comfortably uncomfortable, where you're getting pushed, you're
Mhm.
getting to be, you're growing as a person, but it shouldn't be uncomfortable. You shouldn't be avoiding it. You shouldn't hate doing it. You shouldn't want to, gosh, I wish I wasn't working with this person. It should be comfortably uncomfortable. And that's what it is working with you. You're going to be pushed. You made me do some things that I didn't want to do, but there was always a safe space within it. And I knew that it was always going to be okay.
Wow.
I think that was the best part.
That's a great answer. Thank you. I fully received that. Thank you. That was very, very nourishing to hear that safety, that comfort. That's what I strive for, I guess. Is there
And I think,
anything else? Oh, go ahead.
well, I think when I, knowing that I was jumping into a group that I didn't know anyone,
Mm-hmm.
and it was, I knew that you were going to put together the right group. I knew the universe was going to put together the right group. And I immediately from the first day was like, this is a safe space. I fully trust you and what you were going to put together and the people you were going to attract. You had clearly attracted me to you, and anybody else that you were going to attract were going to be good, safe people that I could rely on. And
Mm,
so from day one, I felt very comfortable, very safe, very all into the program.
mm. Thank you. Yeah, that's why I'm putting such an emphasis on application only for this mastermind. I just really, in the past, I think a lot of us can relate to this. I had taken in clients or students out of more of fear of if I said no, what they could say about me, or out of necessity for money. And none of that ever worked out correctly. They were never a correct aligned match for me. They didn't do the work, or they didn't fit the molds with it. And I don't like the word mold. Fit the community vibe, and like something was always a little off kilter. So I've learned the hard way to never do that, and the universe always supports. Like it is not about the money. It is about getting the right people in the right room so that that transformation can occur. And thankfully, I've had just epic, epic mastermind people or Revive Your Sacral group people. You guys have all been incredible and such good fits. So I'm so thankful. Is there anything else that you feel like you wanted to say to someone listening today?
No, I think if they're here, they know they need it, and they know to reach out to you. You're an
Mm,
easy person to connect with.
I hope
You're a
so.
very you're a very comfortable person
I hope
to
so.
touch base with, and I know I think I've said it all.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with me and have this conversation. If anyone wants to connect with you and chat with you, do you want to let them know where they can find you or follow you?
They can. It's all through the practice. It is Hendon Family Chiropractic. I'm sure that's going to be in show notes
Hmm.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Instagram, Facebook, it's all around. I'm happy to answer any questions you have if you just need to have a little more comfort on whether you want to work with Adriana or not. You do. That's going to be the answer, but
Thank you. But you will so my other student that I had on also said the same thing, which I think is so generous that you guys are offering that. And I can also safely say you guys would be completely like you're biased, but you're like you would let them feel guided to an unbiased answer is what I'm trying to say. Like obviously you think I'm a
yes.
good fit for a lot of people, but I think you would also tell them if it wasn't a good fit for them or if we didn't think we aligned.
100%. And that's very learned. I think probably through from your other student as well as me of in our business. Because again, that
Hmm.
same fear in the beginning, you're like, I gotta take everyone, and then
Yep.
you suddenly learn that that doesn't grow the business you want,
Hmm.
and it's suddenly okay to start turning people away and saying this isn't the right fit, and we need to send you somewhere else and referring them somewhere better. So
Yep.
I feel very confident in that now. I've grown into that.
Yeah. Yep. I'm getting a lot better at that for sure. Thank
We
you
all
so
have to go
much.
through that.
Oh, I know. It's areas of improvement. Yes, we're getting better.
Yes,
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'll see you in a couple days
absolutely.
at the
Yeah,
conference.
I can't wait.